so free.
All right, so I've been given some free time here to kind of freestyle at the shop, and I like when I get time to do this. So I'm going to do something this is more for the sake of it being interesting and for my own education, because as we know, I am not the world's best gun tech. I am good enough at fixing my own stuff and keeping that functional, and prior to Keegan's beliefs, I am now good at keeping my eyes clean. But I kind of realized out of what we have in the shop today to look at, we have a Lux Ice on the used wall, we have a couple Lux X's on the used wall, and we have a few TM40s on the used gun wall. So I thought about it. I was like, all right, well, I want to do something on, like, you know, how different are they? How, like, what really, like, what matters, right? Like, what are you paying for with buying all these new guns? Why not just buy an old Lux Ice for, like, less than $1,000? That's a terrible lighting, sorry. But, so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do it myself then. So, I could just do something where I just shoot it, see how it feels, go based on that. But I wanted to try to take a step further. So I'm going to do I'm going to make a little bit of an effort with that. And I'm going to flip this here. So I have them all. I have their cores taken out. I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to start with that. Keep it kind of simple. So this is your Lux Ice. This is the X core, and the TM40. Okay. So I'm going to just kind of briefly go over what I think is different about each one of these, just from looking at it and kind of assessing, and then we're going to go shoot them. All right, so first I'll start off with the, I'll call it the Ice Core here. So this is all seems to be pretty solid state as far as like the back of it, and then here's the actual can and bolt. So like the bolt itself is this whole thing that moves in here. So like people used to talk about how, you know, like the ice efficiency was like not great compared to a lot of other guns that are out there. And I can see why. When you're moving a giant piece of metal like this, that kind of, logically that just kind of makes sense. However, they've also been credited for their very smooth shot. People love the way they shoot. It's like very just poofy, spoofy, if you will. So I am going to investigate that. But if I had to take a guess as to why, not being an engineer, generally things that are heavier and harder to move, I feel like adds stability. Because that's why with like the LV2, you have a light rammer and a heavy rammer. And the heavy rammer is what you put in when you want a smoother shot. So I'm going kind of based on that logic. So I'm going to say that this logically should be the smoothest feeling out of all of these while being the least efficient. And I'm not going to do a full efficiency test because I think I would actually get shot for going through 3 cases of paint for one video. But if you guys want that, comment below and we can get Joel on board. But anyway, so Ice Core just seems to be a lot of spots for O-rings and touch and movement, but a lot of weight, which would add to that kind of super smooth shot. Not sure what's up with this like half open, half closed can deal, but I'm not here to pretend I'm an engineer. So, okay, cool. And check out the X Core. So this was total, like, this is what we'll call the whole, like, divorced spool idea, right? So as I'm looking at it, obviously completely different. This isn't even a comparison. Even if you look at just the back pieces, like, totally separated. 3 O-rings here, only one main one back here. So I'll just stick to what's up here. The bolt itself is inside. Comes out, it's only about that big from here to here, as opposed to being like 3 or 3.5 inches long in the other one. So clearly humongous update, and the X came through with a lot better efficiency, which I think was their main goal with making it. Very interesting setup here with this thing. Like, definitely more moving parts with this, because you have this, which is a mobile piece, this, which is obviously moving, or inside rather, moving to hit the ball. So there's a lot kind of at work here, but again, lighter weight. So really kind of curious to see like if that affects the shot when, again, doing it side by side like that and really paying attention to it. So again, so more weight, or like a bigger moving piece here, more moving pieces, but smaller and lighter weight. So curious on that to see what that'll do. But again, the goal, efficiency. And then if we look over here at the TM40, so really these kind of can structures are the same, and these are both more moving pieces. Huge difference is going to be this kind of more conical structure versus whatever shape you want to call this. I got nothing for that, but it's like, so there's bigger openings here. So instead of having like 5 or 6, there's only 3, and they're just bigger and flatter. It's almost like they just kind of lopped the top off of this thing and just made some of the openings bigger back here. Otherwise, pretty similar Interesting. So it's just a different way to move the air around. Okay. I think the big difference is going to be the bolts themselves. If you look, this is the X, this is the TM40. This is the TM40 is way more recessed in, way more flat. The X protrudes a little bit more and actually comes out to the ball a little more. And this is, I think, an example, again, of the chamber being bigger, because this is, as I'm looking through the TM40 versus looking through the bolt for the X, it's a little bigger for the TM40. I think the big thing, though, is a lot of the materials that they used to get as smooth and as little contact as possible. Yeah. Definitely. So really, they're distributing the air pretty differently by cutting off like a significant portion of the X bolt. And then the bolts themselves are different, and there's more. Again, the chamber is bigger, so it's so wild watching. Like really, like this is a big change, but not right. Like they did kind of completely redo the front tip of this piece, but you can see the origins of where it came from here to here. Curious how different that performance is. So again, now I get to shoot them side by side and really kind of give you guys like, is it that much different, or is finding a used X or a used Ice just as worth your time and worth your money? We will see. Alright, so I'm out back. I have all three guns right here, laying on some nice towels so nothing's getting scratched up. I will be shooting this Dynasty paint. I forget if it's like a 3-star or a 5-star, but it's pretty nice. So I'm gonna shoot Dynasty paint. All three guns have all the same paint in each loader. And while the tanks are different sizes, I did check the output pressures and they all match about 450, okay? So I've gotten everything as lined up as the same as it can be for what I have available here at the shop that we're like allowed to use for testing and whatnot. And yeah, I'm gonna set these up. I'll show you guys a little bit of shot trajectory, and then for the most part, I'm gonna be basing this on how do they feel. So yeah, let's get to it. First up, we're gonna do trajectory for the Ice. I'm also gonna give you guys some chrono action here. Mostly 280s, 290s. And then let's get in here and I'll give you trajectory. Okay. Next up for chrono and trajectory is going to be the Luxe X. Okay, this one's strongly chilling in like the 290s, but that's fine. And finally, some trajectory and chrono of the TM40. High 280s, 290s. Let's get you all some trajectory. All right, so now to get to the real meat and potatoes of this that I wanted to is the actual like kind of side-by-side shooting test. So I think, I'm not sure if I'll run this as like a time lapse of anything quicker or if I'll just do it kind of one by one, but I'm gonna have to definitely pick guns up and put them down and get a good back and forth because I really wanna know how different does it actually feel for any of them. So you'll just see a lot of me shooting from here since you already saw how they shoot. right, so guys, after some pretty extensive testing back and forth over the last like 10 minutes with all three of these, just picking them up, different combos of shooting them kind of side by side and separately, I think the TM40 is going to take it. Because I mean, like, I even went so far as to, like, just in between takes, I even turned down the ice just a little bit just to get it more like 280 instead of like hovering in like upper 290. And even still, like, this was just slightly less impact or recoil as I'm shooting the TM40. And plus, even if it did come in similar, like with the ice, I would still probably give it to the TM40 being worth your money because of the efficiency. Like, you're still getting that smoothness, and in my argument, even more smoothness than the ice. And you're getting through more paint. Like, you're able to actually play the game longer with that nice smooth shot. So yeah, my layman's impression of all three of these, as far as being a relatively unintelligent technician, I'm giving it to the TM40. So anyway, but guys, all these guns that you saw in this video are used here at Punishers. So I'm gonna get this up as quick as I can so that they're still there. Go ahead and use the links in the description and buy them here from Punishers. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you've owned any or all three of these. Let's open up a discussion. I'd love to hear what you guys think, but truly I think this is actually worth what you're paying for, and actually worth the update, if you will, from Luxe. So cool, see you next time.